So today we are going to discuss a new topic called process modeling. Okay, so now when it comes to process modeling, yeah, okay. So in the process modeling, so let's first get into the system MDG IMG general settings process modeling. Okay, so in process modeling, the first one is something called define governance scope. So what does this mean, define governance scope? Basically, let's say for example, uh, certain attributes are there while creating your material master, or certain attributes are there, and you don't want those attributes to be part of your governance scope. Governance scope in the sense, slash o. Let me open your application. Material UI application. Hmm, yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos.
I'll take material master role, and once you go to material governance homepage, uh, click on material, create material. Hmm. So now this is your material creation screen. Okay, so in this material, if you look at when you are maintaining the material master data, okay, so you can maintain multiple, let's say, basic data, material basic data. User can input all these attributes. Okay, for example, in your business scenario, external material group field is not required, or basically you don't want it, whatever you are and inputting over here. So those are basically part of your governance scope. That means you are, while creating your material via MDG UI application of MDG processes, then you are actually, what are the attributes that you see here, user can input the data. But for example, this external material group is not required, or probably if you are not using this field. Okay, in this case, you wanted to make this field either read only, or you wanted to basically hide. That means basically I wanted to take this particular attribute out of governance scope. I don't want it to see not only from this particular UI, or whatever maybe the way that you actually maintain the material data in MDG, like file upload, download, or mass processing, or creation scenario, or change scenario. So in any scenario, I wanted to take out of this particular attribute out of governance scope, which means I should not able to maintain this attribute from MDG processes. Okay, in that case, I can take this attribute out of governance scope. That means here in this particular transaction, if you go to this define governance scope, basically by default, all the attributes will be part of governance scope. Okay, but some cases what happens is certain attributes, if I, this is your material master data model. Once you go under this entity type, right? Okay, so all these entities, like storage data entity, or else ATP, or material plant basic data. So all these entities are by default, governance scope is S. That means you should be able to maintain all these data via MDG processes. This is entity. So when I say if at entity level S, that means all the attributes under that entity I should be able to maintain. Okay, so if you say this attribute, this one as no, that means this material storage data. You see here, material storage data. This also you will have here somewhere in the UIBB. Let's look at storage related. Is it material or plant? Material storage data. So there should be some UIBB corresponding to this one. Some storage. This is plant storage. Okay, it should be there. Okay, we'll find that UIBB. But let's say if you are actually saying a particular, maybe let's take another example. You say plant forecasting is there, plant related. You see there are many plant related attributes are the plant data, plant foreign data, forecasting, all these things, right? You can find it over here. All see plant forecasting, then plant foreign trade. So all these like, I mean, this particular UIBB, if you see this particular UIBB, plant foreign trade. So current when you maintain a plant, this will become editable. Currently, we haven't entered any plant over here. So if you maintain certain plant over here in this plant section, then this will become editable. Now, this plant foreign trade I'm not using in my organization. Then I wanted to take it out of governance scope, because if you keep it as open, what happens is there is a high chance that business users, knowingly or unknowingly, they can maintain some data, right? So that's why we say this attribute, this particular entire UIBB, this UIBB corresponding to this particular entity, plant foreign trade. Okay, so if I take this particular foreign trade, if I take this particular UIBB, if I say here no, that means all the attributes under that particular entity will be read only, which means I can actually hide this UIBB as well. Okay, so that is the purpose of this particular configuration. Either you can take out of governance scope at entity level. When you say entity level, all the attributes under that particular entity, or else under this particular entity, everything I wanted to maintain except one attribute. Let's say, for example, controlling code is there. This controlling code I don't want it to maintain. Then what you can do is you can keep this as asset entity level. But if you go further down at attribute level, you will have some controlling code. What is this controlling code, right? You will find something called a controlling code over here. Maybe out of this some attribute will be related to that one, but basically here at attribute level you can say it's no. When you say it's no at attribute level, then that means basically, see, you have export and import group. So that export and import group is here. Okay, so when I say this as no, that means all other attributes will be maintainable at a MDG level except this attribute. So in short, in summary, what I'm trying to say here is you can actually, if some attributes you wanted to take it out of governance scope, you can actually use this particular configuration. Either you can control it entity level or you can control it.
Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos.
Attribute level. Okay, so that's what this first configuration it says, governance scope. So you can say, so everything you can say some out of governance scope except certain fields. You see your storage and use type 1, your SU type 1, at the SU type 1 entity itself, you cannot take it out of governance scope, because SU type 1 is your parent, right? At the parent level, I cannot take out of governance scope my parent. So what it says is you cannot take your entire entity at governance scope, but in this entity, non-key fields can be ungoverned. Ungoverned means, if you go to your entity, SU type 1 entity, under that, except the key fields, other non-key fields, you can take it out of governance scope. The other thing is any key fields of an entity type, you cannot take it out of governance scope, and mandatory fields also, you cannot take it out of governance scope. Because if you take out of governance scope mandatory fields, who will maintain the data? So you cannot submit the request as well. So that's why mandatory fields also, you cannot, those we should be always in governance scope. Okay, so this is a configuration just we saw. And so you can see once you a particular attribute, once you take it out of governance scope, what is the impact from MDG side? So that is what it's going to discuss here. First one is your single record processing. Single record processing means your single change. That means this one. So this same example, okay, here single record processing means like your SOP, single object creation. So this is example of your single record processing. I can create one material or I can edit one material, right? So what is the impact it says is in single record processing, in single record processing, those attributes will be removed out of governance scope and those will be marked as read-only field on the UI application. Okay, when you are performing a mass change, in the mass change also, those attributes will be ungoverned. Ungoverned means those attributes will be ignored. Though you try to change those attributes via mass change, those attributes, those changes won't get updated because those are read only. Okay. Now, in case of file upload also, we will discuss about file upload in mass processing. In case of file upload also, though in your input file, if you modify those attributes and upload your file, system will ignore those values. Okay, and download means whatever the value. See, here upload means from your input file you are uploading the data into MDG system. Download means the data from that your SAP tables will be downloaded into your local machine in a file. So while downloading, system will actually download your ungoverned fields as well, because there you are not changing the value, we are just downloading the data. So in case of download, it will download, but in case of upload, it will ignore. Though your input file contains those values, while updating those records, system will ignore those attributes, those values.